Hi, it's Ann. Thanks for stopping by. So guess what we're going to be working with today? Old photo negative strips. It looks so funny to even see these, doesn't it? It's been so many years since we've gotten our photographs developed this way. And so each old negative strip that we run across, either in our own collection or somewhere else, is probably at least 20 years old. But this is what we grew up with, wasn't it? We'd finish a roll of film. It was all wound up on those little reels inside our cameras, and we'd take the little cassette to the drugstore, and you'd wait, 7 days or more, and go back and pick up your prints, anxiously awaiting to see, were your eyes closed? How did you, if you're in high school, did your hair look good? Was the angle flattering for you? How cute was the boy you were with? Lots of old stories can be told through these old photographs. I have gotten rid of, I think, all of mine over the years, moving here and there. You go through old boxes. I think, what do I need? The vast majority of the photos that I've taken over the years have been blurry backyard, things, we just didn't take as many photos then as we take now when it's so easy with our phones. Anyway, I ran across a bin of old negatives at Scrap, which is our thrift store for arts and crafts supplies here in Portland. I thought, I'm just going to get a handful of them and see what I can do with them, because it seems like they're sort of screaming out to be used in some kind of a craft project. I only got a few. I got 6. And there's 5 here. I'm about to show you the first one that I finally decided to do something with. My problem in figuring out how to use negatives in a craft project is mostly because, it's a plastic surface, and, I'd have to use Fabri-Tac, which would probably smear and, look kind of weird if I got it on something. And I didn't want to use it like as a specimen card where I was encasing or covering up that perforated edge. I wanted the whole thing to show. So after doing lots of sort of hemming and hawing, I finally decided the best thing to do was to stitch it. And I had this little piece of cardstock with book page on it, and it's just an edge for a book page. But I thought, what if I just did machine stitching there, and I wouldn't have to worry about the stickiness of the glue, and I knew it would be secure, and I can just put it on a pocket. I can even, make this into a little tuck spot if I want. But mostly I just wanted it as a little edge here. And I like the idea of this perforated edge of the negative strip sticking out beyond the page and forming a little bit of a tab, something kind of decorative. Anyway, that was my first breakthrough in thinking, yeah, stitching is the way that I need to attach these to other things. And then I started thinking, these lend themselves nicely to lots of layering. So why don't we do that? I have a few ideas of 2 other little projects that oh, I just knocked you there. Sorry about that. A couple of other projects where I can use some negatives. This was laying on my desk, this little decorative die-cut flower. And I thought, oh, that is so cute. I love the idea of something kind of glamorous looking on that old negative strip. It just kind of brings up some nice mental images, doesn't it? So I'm going to put a little Fabri-Tac on this just to anchor it down. And because this will cover up its own Fabri-Tac surfaces, it should be okay as far as the smeariness, as long as I don't get it too overloaded with the glue. It's kind of distracting. So here is a nice page edge. Can be a little side tuck for a journal, but doesn't that negative strip it just, you know, there's no mistaking what it is. We're not altering it in any way. We're just stitching it down. And I love that. Let's look at a couple of other ideas. Set that aside. I was trying to think visually what would go with negative, the image of photo negative strips. I had this piece of scrap paper. Literally, this is the only scrap I have that has some negatives. But, you know, I didn't like it. I thought I could make a little pocket or a little card. I didn't like it. I want this to be the actual negative strip, to be the only negative strip. I want it representing for all other negative strips. So let's see. Why don't I do this one next? I was thinking about the whole idea, you know, what my friend down the road, as I call him, Brian Medlock, who's a wonderful collage artist down here in the Pacific Northwest. He lives south of Portland. He just tells an interesting story with every collage he makes. And I thought, why don't I let Brian be my spirit animal and think about a little bit of storytelling with photo negatives. And one of my very dear friends for many years, almost 50 years, is my old college roommate, Paula. And she is a wonderful photographer. We took some interesting photographers back in the day, I will tell you that. But in her retirement, she's become an extremely accomplished nature photographer, and birds in particular. So I thought, you know, this photo strip, this kind of makes me think of Paula. I thought, why don't I use a photo strip in just something that's just going to kind of represent her to me. So this is one of my gel prints that I did. I told you I have a lot of really bad gel prints. This is one, but I kind of like the fact it's kind of blurry in the background. It kind of makes me think of a blurred photograph. Paula's photographs are not blurry. They are absolutely beautiful. But let me... what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of layer some things down, because the final thing I'm going to do is to go to my sewing machine and stitch this down, and I'll have to do that off camera. So I want to do as much layering as I can with you here, and then I'll go to the sewing machine and come back with the final result. How about that? This is a... I don't know why I thought I wanted a little piece out of a bird field guide. But the storytelling that I was thinking of with this particular project was of my friend Paula out, you know, correctly identifying birds, enjoying birds, taking beautiful photographs, and just being one with nature. I know it has meant a lot to her over this phase in her life to get out and enjoy the stillness of nature and capture unforgettable images. I mean, her photos are just stunning. They really are. And so that, I'm thinking, could go there. I'm going to kind of layer these things up before I actually secure them down, because I haven't done any testing of how this is all going to look. So, and this won't take too long. I always say that, and then it does, but anyway. Yeah, I was excited when I found these film strips. And, you know, I just got the handful of them. There's a bird out of a field guide. Something like that, do. I also had a look on Etsy and eBay to think, you know, maybe, you know, I could get a big bundle of negatives online somewhere. They're super expensive. They're ridiculously expensive. So I thought, no, I'm just going to kind of use those I have I stamped a few little cameras on some circles to see if they might work into this little collage. I think I'm going to go with just one bird. And I might do just a little stamping in the background. Then I'll layer up a few things on top of it and we'll call it done. I have this little script stamp because if Paula, I know Paula likes to have little notebooks to write down her observations as she's out recording this and that. And she might even keep a little specimen card in her field notes. There we go. So this is going to have to dry because I did this stamping on acrylic paint, so it's not going to be soaking in. So I'm going to set this aside and we're going to go to our other project and then we'll maybe do some sewing and we'll come back to Paula and her taking of photographs. I know she uses a standard camera, but I'm sure it's a digital. It's not a film type camera. The other kind of storytelling that I was doing in my mind was thinking about travel. And I thought, when do we take a lot of photos? We take them when we're traveling. And I have so many old, wonderful postcards. And I thought, why don't I see if I could do some kind of little storytelling, some kind of little collaging with an old postcard. And here is Mount Hood. That is such a wonderful fixture for us here in Portland. This is a postcard dated from 1989, so it's been a while. I love this woman's handwriting, and I think I want to cover this, the back of this, and make it into a journal card. But I kind of hate to sacrifice all of her beautiful handwriting. So what I'm going to do is do something you've seen me do many times before. I'm going to pull up a couple of examples of her handwriting so that I can, and if I don't use it on this project, I'll use it on something else. But I'm just putting a little piece of Scotch tape there. Rub that down as much as I can and then pull it off like a Band-Aid. Okay, I didn't get that as much as I wanted to. Let me pull it down a little closer to me. Nope, I didn't get a whole lot more, but there's a little bit of her handwriting there. The piece I really wanted to get, she has written, I think Alan has captured many beautiful sights on film. Good for you, Alan. Way to record the trip. And there we go. Let's see if I can do a little bit of a better job pulling up her beautiful handwriting. I blacked out names other than Alan's, and the address. The mother was in Tennessee. All right, let's see how this is going to go. Ah, I had better luck. Yeah, I think that extra burnishing did the trick. So I'm going to save this. Almost like a faux washi tape. I've done a whole video on that. I can share that. So how do I want to treat this postcard and incorporate the film strip. I could have it, it blends in a little bit too much. Here it blocks the roses and blocks Mount Hood. Maybe the amber one will show up a little bit more. It does a little bit. I can maybe tilt it like that a little. There we go. So that can stitch on a little bit later. The other thing I was thinking about incorporating, and I am not one to use photos of actual people in my journals. Those, you know, Tim Holtz paper dolls. I just don't like them. They feel creepy to me. But I have in my possession some photos, some pages from an old college yearbook. And it's from 1963, I think. It's from the University of Wisconsin at Stevens Point. Go Pointers. And this came in, part of it, you know, a few pages of it came into my possession, I don't know, a year or more ago. And I love looking at these, you know, especially these young women. This apparently is the Nelson Hall Council. And I think, you know, what were their lives like? What, you know, what options did they have? What new options did they make for themselves at the dawn of the 1960s? And I thought maybe that, you know what, let's just kind of imagine that these nice looking gals are out traveling together. They came to Portland and they're just kind of seeing the sights. I don't have room for all of them. But I'm just going to cut out a few, and I'm feeling okay about that. They're fitting into my storytelling okay. I think one of the reasons that I kind of don't like to use photos of actual people is it just feels kind of intrusive to me. I've talked about this a little bit before. You know, it feels like, you know, these people didn't give their consent to be in my journal. And these young women did not either. So I'm breaking my own rule. But somehow in this storytelling aspect of what I'm doing today, I somehow think that these young women who look great would be okay with being part of this little collage, this little storytelling collage. So I'm just fussy cutting these three young ladies and their pretty bouffant haircuts. They probably slept on rollers. In their little dorm room, Nelson Hall. And I kind of, you know, and clearly they're posing for a photograph, and so it's sort of keeping in that theme. I kind of, what do you think of them being there? Let's kind of do that. Yeah, I'm feeling good about this. What about if I used one of these little, this is photo by Mike Anderson. Oddly, that's a family name, spelled differently, but Mike Anderson, I'm sure, will not mind if I cover up his credit there. But thanks, Mike Anderson, for taking this beautiful photo of Mount Hood in the late 1980s. Yep, this is going to come off, but I can trim it off. And what I'm thinking is maybe I can put this little example of handwriting. I can go down here or something. It may not work. I don't know. Let me get these things down first. And we'll just see. I know, I can't believe I'm actually using photos, but it just seems to work. And these girls are posing for a photo. They know that it's going to be in their yearbook. They intended to be in a publication, so. coming off the edges a little bit there. There we go. Now, let's kind of see where we're going to get this film strip positioned and see if our handwriting does that seem to fit there? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for it, but I'm gonna paste this down after I've stitched this into place. Let me put the back on this one, and then I'm gonna go to my sewing machine and do what needs to be done there. Oh, I almost hate to say goodbye to this woman's beautiful handwriting. But I'm glad I could preserve a little bit of it anyway. I like seeing those girls there. We're pretending they're on their trip to Portland, the city of roses. All right, I'm gonna get these things trimmed up. I'm gonna get, let the ink continue to dry on this card that's making us think about Paula, and I'm gonna go to the sewing machine and get these stitched in place. So I will be back. Okay, we're back, and this little journal card, this postcard, is now complete. I really, really love how that film strip looks stitched on there. Mount Hood is showing nicely from behind. Only thing I regret, I'm really glad I picked up the handwriting from the back, but I used art glitter glue to glue it down, and it got kind of blotchy. And I maybe it's not dry yet. I don't know, but I think the blotches are probably going to remain. It's okay. It's a junk journal. I get the essence of the handwriting. I trimmed it down. I took off this third line. Alan has captured many beautiful sights on film. I left it to just say many beautiful sights on film because I have a feeling if these three ladies are traveling together, they didn't need to depend on Alan to capture their beautiful sights on film. I think they were out there experiencing and recording their memories for themselves. This is what I choose to believe. I had little corners that I cut off the ends, and I just decided to just kind of stitch that up there. So anyway, so this one is done. I did have to put another back on it because I had forgotten. I'd backed it before I went to the sewing machine. Then I stitched this down. I thought, oh, I have stitching there on the back. But just another sheet of brown paper completed that journaling space on the back. I might do a little camera stamping as well. Here is how the bird photography inspired card turned out, and it really does make me think of my friends. So I'm going to have fun using this. And how beautiful does that old strip look? You just know exactly what it is. You've seen this one already. I don't have plans for how I'm going to use these three yet, but I'm going to keep working on it. I found when I was doing this, the stitching, that it really kept things down really firmly. So you almost could make a little tuck spot if you just stitched one side of that perforated edge. But I'm going to set these aside for another day. I trimmed off of this one. I trimmed off one frame that must have been somebody's oops there. There is nothing there. And I thought, why don't I use that? I went into my journal cards, and I thought it might be fun to turn this into a tag and put a little pull tab on top. So we're going to do that, and I have my same issue with not wanting to glue it, so I'm not going to stitch this. I'm just going to use a stapler. So I'm going to temporarily add here this little piece of negative strip, and I'm going to put this guy here. And I'm just going to grab my stapler and down here. There we go. And we'll peel that off. And we have a tiny little tab on the top of this. I think this was really fun. Thank you for experimenting with me with different ways to use negative strips in junk journals. And if you have some old negative strips at home, or if you run across some, I bet you're going to think of many ways that I have not even thought of to use in your junk journals. Let me know what you come up with. Thank you so much. See you soon. Bye.